Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea, welcome back to your Chelsea news. In today's video, we're talking about Enzo Maresca wanting to sign a new ball-playing centre-back, which Chelsea are currently leading the race for. There's also been another transfer target which is not on David Ornstein's list. Chelsea want to evaluate the goalkeeping situation for next season, and finally, Roman Abramovich speaks out on the sale of Chelsea Football Club. Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comment section. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k by the end of 2025. So kicking things off, Matt Law has reported that Enzo Maresca is keen for Chelsea to sign a ball-playing central defender to complement Wesley Fofana and also help mitigate the impact of his absence through injuries. I'm actually really happy about this. I'm really happy that we do want to go in the market for a new centre-back. A new ball-playing centre-back makes a lot of sense because, you know, as the reports suggest, Wesley Fofana, a stiff breeze would injure him. He's very rarely available. And what I like about Fofana is his ability. He's such a good centre-back, and he's played better and better when he's been fit in the sort of spells he has been for Chelsea. Unfortunately, he's just never available. And in my opinion, one of the best abilities of a footballer is availability. And unfortunately, Wesley Fofana doesn't have that. And this ties into a report from Ben Jacobs who says Chelsea are pushing for Bournemouth defender Dean Huijsen and hope to sign him in time for the Club World Cup. Bournemouth want a quick deal. Multiple Premier League clubs are moving fast to try and finalise an agreement. No issue on the club-to-club side, all about getting player to buy in. Now again, we've been heavily linked with Dean Huijsen. It looks like we are leading the race for him and we are going to be getting him. Whether it's before the Club World Cup or as soon as the transfer window opens, maybe it's a bit after, I don't know. Chelsea are planning to do it before the Club World Cup, which I think is a very good decision. I feel like because of the Club World Cup scenario, we do have less of a pre-season, less of a recovery phase between, end season and a new Premier League season that starts, in August. So I feel like the Club World Cup is a good competition, experiment, however you want to kind of frame it, to play these new players with Enzo Maresca and the team, in this new system and embed them in and kind of see what Chelsea, how we're going to develop, how we're going to improve in the spaces where we recruit in. Now, I'm hoping that the recruitment is top tier. I really like Dean Huijsen. He has had a very good season. Yes, he is very young. He's, like 19 years old, but he's a very technical ball-playing centre-back who has showcased his skill throughout the season. Not only that, but he's defensively aware. He's a very good centre-back. Even though he is young, he's already showing he can do it to a high standard in the Premier League. Now, when you look at the likes of Levi Colwill, Wesley Fofana, if you minus Wesley Fofana's injuries, he would be our number one centre-back in my opinion. I think he's got the best ability. I think he's got the best ball-carrying capabilities. I think he's got the best defensive awareness. Levi Colwill, in my opinion, has been on fraud watch for months because I feel like, yes, he's young. He's like 21 years old. He's got years to develop. But I don't think he's at the standard what we're expecting him to be at this season. And he's been caught out time and time and time again in that back line. And I feel like someone like Dean Huijsen could come in and also partner someone like Levi Colwill. Or we could replace Levi Colwill. Either way at this point, I'm going to be brutally honest. But he could partner someone like Levi Colwill. The only problem is I think Dean Huijsen is left-footed. So that means we have two left-footed centre-backs. I could be wrong on that. So, please let me know in the comments if he's right or left-footed. I'm pretty sure he's left-footed. So you wouldn't want to play two left-footed centre-backs together. I mean, Enzo Maresca does some weird and wonderful things with his lineup, so he probably would. But I think having someone like Dean Huijsen, who already has a little bit of Premier League experience with Bournemouth, having a great season defensively and as a ball-carrying player, and picking up that experience in the Premier League, I think it's a good signing. Bournemouth want a quick sale. I think for them, I think the release clause is around £50 million, and in today's market, £50 million is a very good price tag for someone like Dean Huijsen, which sounds wild to me. I've been watching Chelsea for over 25 years and seeing the sort of transfer market inflation has been absolutely wild. So it blows my mind that £50 million is a fair market value for a player nowadays in the Premier League. But hey, that's just me. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Would you take Dean Huijsen or would you rather us go for someone else? Moving on, Santi JFM has reported that Chelsea are determined to accelerate negotiations with Juventus for Kenan Yildiz and have contacted the player's entourage. Now, I find this very interesting. Now, he wasn't on that super list of David Ornstein that he leaked the other day. And a lot of you guys did mention in the comments, it's Chelsea PR. It's, he's paid Ornstein to say these things about Chelsea. And hey, look, the way it comes across, I totally get that. I totally get that. Ornstein has been right about many things. He's also been wrong about a few things. Same with Fabrizio and all these other journalists. I just report on the news and I find that this is interesting. If he's not on the list, and Ornstein was so like hell-bent in saying, these are the targets of Chelsea are going for. Does this report have legs? Does it have any concrete foundations, or is it just a rumor on the rumor mill? And this is why I like doing videos and talking about these things, because I like to ask you guys what your thoughts are. Do I think that Yildiz would be a great addition? I think he's a great player. I'm going to be brutally honest, and I've not watched mass amount of games with him. I don't know how he would fit into our system, but from what I've seen of him, he looks like a tidy little player. I would be curious to know what the transfer fee is looking like, and the wages. What would the wage bill be looking like? And I just want to know if this actually has legs, or if it's just a transfer rumor. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on this rumor down below in the comments. Moving on to the goalkeeping situation, Matt Law has reported that Chelsea will conduct a summer review of their goalkeeper position to establish whether or not they enter the market or choose two of Robert Sanchez, Filip Jorgensen, Petrovic, or Mike Penders to be their first choice pair next season. And I'm so glad, and I'm hoping that there is foundations to this rumor. I really, really do, because Chelsea's goalkeeping situation has been an issue for the last 2, potentially 3 seasons, right? I mean, massively an issue this season. Last season, it was kind of sorted because Poch dropped Sanchez, put Petrovic in goal, and at that moment, we started conceding a few less goals. There were still things that Petrovic wasn't good at or not as great at, and we still did concede a few goals because I think as the team, we just didn't play as well collectively. It was a bunch of new players smashed onto a pitch and, say, look, just win games. That's pretty much what it was. It was vibes. This season has been a big issue because Enzo Maresca has fully backed Robert Sanchez, and he's told us he is our number one unless he plays badly. Then we saw a spell of Jorgensen coming in because Sanchez still has the most errors leading to goal. Now, I will say, in the last 6 or 7 games, Sanchez has looked like he's improved. Not to say he's blameless, because honestly, I do not rate him. I don't think Jorgensen or Sanchez are good enough to be Chelsea number ones. I just really don't think that. Which begs the question: we spent £45 million on Jorgensen in the summer, so what are we doing there? Petrovic is having the best season of his career so far on loan at Strasbourg, and he's going to be coming back to Chelsea. And I think at the moment, on current form, he absolutely walks it, and he's Chelsea's number one. And I'm super excited to see him come back to Chelsea and stay, and actually be Chelsea's number one, rather than fight for a position. But this does beg the question, are Chelsea going to go out and buy a new goalkeeper? The only other sort of caveat to this is we have 8, 9 or 10 keepers on the books. So why are we being dragons and hoarding all the wealth of goalkeepers? It just makes no sense to me. So I feel like we have a big decision, and Maresca hopefully is involved in this. Do we have Sanchez, Petrovic and Jorgensen all fight for number one, and the lesser of them get number 2? Do we give Mike Penders a chance, to fight for number 1 as the Chelsea number 2 next season, with Petrovic being the number 1? Or do we have Petrovic come back, buy a new goalkeeper of a higher standard, and have Petrovic and the new goalkeeper we sign fight it for the number 1 place? In my personal opinion, I think you give it to Petrovic. I think he's earned it with the season that he's had over at Strasbourg. Not only is it in terms of shot stopping, clean sheets, it's the ball playing style that Enzo Maresca said that he couldn't do. He's actually top of all of the stats. He's having such a good season. He's an integral part of Strasbourg's team this season, and they could finish, I think, one of their highest ever finishes in that league, which, speaks volumes with the players that they've got. Obviously, you've got the likes of Andre Santos as well, who would, come back. I think Malang Sarr's over there as well. So it'd just be very interesting. I would personally go with, Petrovic is number 1, and then if we are going to go out and buy another keeper, let them fight out for Chelsea 1 or 2. But if we are going to go buy a keeper, it has to be someone that's experienced and world-class and of a certain calibre to fit the Chelsea team. That's just my opinion. I would love to know your thoughts down below in the comments. And lastly, Nizar Kinsella has reported that Roman Abramovich will discuss the sale of Chelsea in a new book set to be released this summer after giving his first interview in 4 years. The book, named Sanctioned, The Inside Story of the Sale of Chelsea FC, is written by Nick Purewall and will also tell other stories from that accelerated 95-day sale run by Rainbank under the supervision of the UK government, and it will be released by Biteback Publishing this summer. And the article goes on to say this: Abramovich, who remains sanctioned by the UK government due to alleged links to Russian President Vladimir Putin, has conducted a 2-part interview about the £2.5 billion sale of Chelsea in 2022 to American consortium Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital, a deal which took place after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The interviews took place in Abu Dhabi in January and in Istanbul a year prior, and are said to include Abramovich's account of his initial takeover of Chelsea FC in 2004. The sanction actions, his effort in the previous peace process, and the suspected poisoning in March 2022. Before these, Abramovich's most recent interview was to Forbes in March 2021, and aside from that short statement in January that year about Frank Lampard's sacking, and statements about Chelsea's Say No to Anti-Semitism campaign, he had not given an official interview since 2006. This is massive. I am so excited for this book. I believe that you can actually pre-order it as of right now, and I will be pre-ordering this book. This is going to have so many little gems in it. And I'm just curious to know about Abramovich's journey. Yes, he was the best owner in club football. Like, he just was, right? Chelsea fans love Abramovich. I absolutely adore Abramovich, like we all do. And it's such a shame that he was forced to sell Chelsea Football Club due to some politics. The annoying thing is, recently, the EU have actually scrapped the allegations connecting Abramovich to Putin for the reasons that the UK government sort of seized Chelsea Football Club, froze the assets, and forced him to sell the club. Chelsea fans never wanted him to sell the club, you know, and yes, you can go down a route, which I don't really want to go down in this video, but in my opinion, I just feel like there is something off about the whole situation. Being forced to sell Chelsea, 95 days. That is such a fast-tracked sale of such a big asset, £2.5 billion. And again, even in this sort of situation where the ship was going down, so to say, with Abramovich, and he had to kind of part ways with Chelsea, he left Chelsea fans in the best place possible. He left Chelsea Football Club in the best position possible by saying, whoever buys it has to write off the debt, you know, and then you also have to invest over £1 billion. You have to pay the asking price. They were, you know, negotiations were going backwards and forwards. He even said, look, I'll just write the debt off myself, but you still have to invest over £1 billion or 1.5 billion in a certain time space. I think it was 10 years plus the asking price. He did everything he can because he absolutely loved Chelsea Football Club. And one thing I really liked about Abramovich is the stories you hear from, you know, the golden era, the players, from things in the dressing room and conversations that were had, whether it's through the interpreter or when he was in the changing rooms with them, you know, things like that. Because we never got to saw Abramovich in interviews. We saw him very rarely. You know, it was one in 2006. And I briefly remember, you know, growing up when we won the Champions League, there was a brief clip of Abramovich walking the streets of Munich the day after, looked very hungover, you know, with some fans. That's literally it. You used to see the camera pan to him in the Stamford Bridge Stadium. He'd be clapping, he'd be loving it. And that would be it. So I think this book is just going to be very incredible to read, to learn all of the sort of ins and outs from his perspective. And it'll be interesting to see, again, from his perspective, how this sale was forced through, how he felt about it at the time, how he tried to kind of plead his innocence, essentially. But even so, with that £2.5 billion sale, that sat in a UK bank account and was frozen at the point of the sale. That's still in those bank accounts. It's still frozen. Now, it doesn't make any sense. How are they still frozen all these years after? Was it 3 pushing on 4 years after? There's just something about this whole situation that doesn't make sense. And with the EU, you know, like scrapping the allegations to connect, you know, Abramovich to Putin, makes you wonder, like, you know, there is a dream where we can say, well, you know, can the UK also just agree with what the EU has said, and can Abramovich come back, please, and just fix this entire mess? Because Chelsea have not been the same club. We can all agree on that. We've been an absolute mess from top to bottom. This new model, the owners, the way they talk about the club, you know, how they want to, it's all about making money and not winning. And, you know, the recruitment has been awful. Yes, we've had some hits. We've had a lot of misses. It's like a revolving door, an NFL draft every window. All these managers that have coming in, we're giving them big contracts. Like, everything about our club is a joke. And that's why I always try and find the positives in things, because it's very easy just to be negative all the time about Chelsea Football Club. And at the heart of everything, whether your view is slightly different or massively different as a Chelsea fan, the one thing we've all got in common is we love our football club. So I thought this was very, very interesting. I will be pre-ordering the book. This isn't an ad or anything. I genuinely will be, because I'm very curious to know his story about the whole process, how it will come about. Obviously, there's bits that you know, Abramovich was flying over London, pointed out the window, and went, oh, what's that? It's Chelsea, I want to buy it. And he was meant to buy Spurs and things like that. But it'd just be nice to hear it from his account and, you know, read it through his book. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down below about Roman Abramovich's book. Do you think he's going to go into full detail and tell you all the ins and outs? Do you think it'll just be an interesting read? I'm curious to know your thoughts. And that is the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. What do Chelsea do regarding their goalkeeper situation? Do we bring in Petrovic and let him be the number one? Or do we go and buy a brand new goalkeeper and offload the ones that we have on the books? Would you take Dean Huijsen at Chelsea? Do you think he fits into the system? And what are your thoughts on Roman Abramovich telling all the secrets about the sale of Chelsea Football Club? Now, if you have watched this far all the way to the end of the video, firstly, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail that appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.